Now we can go to London to speak to Alison Evans. She's a senior analyst at IHS Markit. Alison, thanks for being with us. I want to jump to this really quick. Trump just tweeted about 20 minutes ago, "My first order as president was to renovate and modernize our nuclear arsenal. It is now far stronger and more powerful than ever before. Hopefully, we'll never have to use this power, but there will never be a time that we are let me correct that. But there will never be a time that we are not the most powerful nation in the world." This is, of course, after he said that the fire and fury comment. What do you make of all of this?
Well, I think it is important to note that the fire and fury comment is somewhat using North Korea's language against itself. North Korea repeatedly talks about raining down fire on Seoul or on other targets. And I think that was an effort by US President Donald Trump to use North Korea's language against itself. Importantly, though, I think the issue here is what kind of military action the US could take, what kind of response North Korea might plan in response to these threats. And those options are quite limited.
I saw earlier this morning, Alison, a news report, a national media news report, talking about how many minutes Guam would have to react if North Korea launched a nuke. Is that a bit alarmist at this point? I mean, how serious is this threat coming from North Korea?
I think it is definitely alarming to note the specificity of North Korea's threats. As I said, it repeatedly uses rhetoric, including raining down fire, but the change is when it gets specific, when it says we will do a nuclear test in December 2015, for example, and then carries out a nuclear test in January 2016. So again, the specificity of creating an operational plan to target Guam is alarming. However, I think looking at the past and North Korea's behavior, it has tried to manage these risks. North Korean leadership is very well aware of the fact that were it to come to conflict and were it to come to the US attacking North Korea, that it would be annihilated.
You have some critics, Alison, in the U.S. saying that Trump's fire and fury comment is only going to have an inflammatory effect. But many viewed Obama's toned down rhetoric as too weak. It seems like a double-edged sword here. Is there really a right or a correct approach to deal with North Korea here?
I think the only approach really involves talks. The US precondition of denuclearization is essentially off the table. In July last year, following North Korea's 2 tests of intercontinental ballistic missiles, the North Korean official position on negotiations changed somewhat, and they've made it very clear that their nuclear program is not on the negotiating table. So the only way to de-escalate here is for both sides to have unofficial or official talks to come to some kind of negotiated settlement. And the problem there is that while the US says that North Korea has to, from itself, stop its production of fissile material and testing of these weapons, that won't happen.
In your estimation, Alison, would it even be possible for the two sides to even have any sort of a dialogue? And is the U.S. using all of the other options within its power other than resorting to this tough talk on North Korea?
Yes, I mean, I think there are other options, including sanctions, which were renewed by the UN Security Council last year. Clearly, the US could make a big gesture to North Korea, for example, by scaling back or delaying its annual military exercises with South Korea. That's something the US did in the 1990s, and off the back of that, there was an agreement by North Korea to stop producing fissile material that lasted 8 years. So I think there are diplomatic and non-military measures that the US can take. It's just not clear yet to what extent those are being considered behind the scenes of Trump's rhetoric.
Alison Evans with IHS Markit. Thanks for being with us.